Good morning, everyone. Mike Fiebernitz, Remax Southern Shores, coming to you for another Fiebernitz Friday, where we throw casual Friday out the window, still in the week on a high note, wearing the suit, the tie, and the customary pocket square. So let's go ahead and jump into the numbers for this week's market mashup. And then we'll transition to this week's topic. For all of you condo owners out there, you are up 0.1% this week. Brings you up for the year 1.6% this year compared to last year's average sales price. Residential market, no change from this past week, but you're still up 1.1% this year compared to last year's average sales price. And then land market, huge week, up 1.8% this past week. Brings you up for the year 15.4% this year compared to last year's average sales price. So this week's topic is 2024, why 2024 is still the year to sell. Okay. Now, if you've been watching my videos consistently, back on December 15th of 2023, my Fiebernitz Friday video that I put out was about 2024 being the year to sell because of the anticipation of dropping interest rates, the introduction to more buyers into the market that are going to buy, and possibly multiple offers. So we were all kind of planning for that. Now, I'm still sticking to that topic that 2024 is the year to sell. This year is the year to sell, but I'm changing my reasons, okay? So here they are, and there's four of them. Number one, rates, interest rates, and inflation. So there's nothing new with this. Interest rates are probably not going to drop this year, and inflation rates are high, which we're not going to see the buyer surge that we're hoping for this year. Now, what all this means is with less buyers in the market buying, that is going to basically force properties to sit longer on the market, and then sellers will start dropping their price because they can't sell them and they want to sell, so they're basically going to drop their price so they could sell. So I think that's going to cause the pricing to soften and maybe even decline a little bit. Number two, new construction. Builders have figured out how to compete with resales, and that is just the direct saying about all of this. They're basically offering a brand new house almost at the same price that you're probably offering for your house as a resale, and they're offering in-house financing if the buyer uses their lender, which is at a lower rate that you can get or a buyer can get from a local lender. Because of these three things, buyers are flocking to new construction, and they'll continue to do so. Another thing that is making it very hard for sellers is that buyers know that the builder will replace or repair everything in that final walkthrough, where in a resale, those are up for negotiation, which a lot of buyers just don't want to deal with. So when you take these four things with new construction, buyers are flocking to new construction over and over. I'm even hearing from some of my colleagues that buyers are terminating resale contracts and then going to buy new construction because the seller is refusing to negotiate on the repairs out the inspection. So new construction has really put a dent into resales. Number 3, job market. We are a secondary vacation market, and we basically lack the job market to be able to afford the prices on houses at where they're at. You know, unfortunately, we just don't have the salary and the wages from the jobs to be able to afford a house at, $426,000 on average. So it's tough out there for someone to be able to, afford a house in this market on the wages or salaries here in the area. We're not like Charleston. Charleston has Boeing, Mercedes, some other, companies and corporations. And we don't have any of that here. It's a very tourist vacation, big retirement community. Fourth and final, there is no indication on prices rising. So unfortunately, there isn't any current indicators or stats that is basically pointing to the pricing here in this market going up. Everything seems to be pointing it's going to go down. It hasn't gone down. It has basically stayed the same. And because of that, everything else is just kind of increasing at a very snail's pace rate. And I think if it just keeps on doing that, a lot of sellers are going to get anxious and impatient and start dropping, their price. And, with everything, just stats, indicators, I just don't see anything where the pricing is going to go up. It just looks like it's either going to stay the same, which I doubt that's going to happen in the long run. And everything's just going to point towards a decline. What that decline is, I don't know. But that's kind of what it's pointing at in the near future. So, to basically wrap up, why am I saying 2024 is still the year to sell? Number one, historic pricing. Okay, with the pricing where they're at, we haven't seen this pricing in this market, I don't think, ever. I went back and we are at an all-time high in pricing. And as well as the outlook on everything is showing that the pricing probably in the near future is going to decline some. So the best thing to do is this year take advantage of the high prices and sell rather than wait on the election, which that's like a 50-50 gamble. But then there's no guarantee that if your candidate is reelected or elected into office, there's no guarantee that, the market's going to turn around and go up. It's nothing's really showing that the pricing is going to go up, and there's a reason to hold is what I'm saying. Folks, that's all I got this week. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask me. I'd love to help you out, be a resource to you. If I can help you in any way, don't hesitate to reach out to me. Drop me a comment, share this, subscribe, like it, all that good stuff. And I will see you guys next Friday for next Friday's Fiebernitz Friday. Have a good one.